Collective, hello, my loves. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. I hope y'all are doing well today. Collective, we got Moonbathe in Hope, Brave the Journey, and Bubble Your Boundaries. Well, I feel like the general idea for this one is walking in faith. Because I think a lot of times we allow for our boundaries to be blurred or crossed or questioned because we don't really have faith in what's happening. And so we let people cross our boundaries, or we can, I guess, cross our own boundaries, which I guess would be like if you were, like if you've said, I'm going to do this, and then you go and you do something different, just kind of like the many variations that can present itself in. But I feel like the call to walk in faith, which in spirit, when you're walking with spirit, I know there's definitely an advantage to it because there's very much a reality in it. But it's not always like a detailed outline type of presence or reality. And so that, I think, is where the faith comes into play. And then, when the faith runs thin, whether it's because of time or patience, which, kind of, or circumstance, however that presents itself to you as an individual. These are general reads. They will resonate differently for everyone. So take what resonates for you, how it resonates for you, and leave the rest. But I feel like there's just been a lack of boundaries. And I think when you're really honest with yourself, it amounts to a lack of faith due to a lack of an outlined plan from spirit. I feel like some of the people who are with me right now have been in that that frequency of like a station that isn't quite coming through, like it's like you're catching words here or you're catching words there, but you're not getting the full message. And I feel like Spirit's just asking you to have a little bit more faith in what you're doing, to hold boundaries that honor yourself and honor your purpose and honor your journey. Because sometimes purpose can feel really overwhelming and it can feel really abstract, And when it does, we can feel antsy and irritable or however that demonstrates itself. And I Yes, I'm still in sweatpants, just different ones. Still gray. I love gray sweatpants. They're comfy. Anyways, nobody cares. Yeah, I do. I feel like that's basically what's happening there with those cards is a check-in with yourself concerning your boundaries in whatever area of life that you are, hey mama, that you are, dealing in. because that can play out in all arenas, right? That can be with work, that can be with relationships, like putting down roots. I mean, it can all feel, well, I mean, I think one of the most common things that people do is they get into relationships that like they really shouldn't be in, but they're lonely, so they do it anyways. Like, can you not entertain yourself in any other form or fashion, And yes, I know that, like, again, I think everyone wants love, I mean, well, not everyone. Obviously, there are people who are asexual, but even they want companionship. What's that show with that guy that's like super smart? And then his girlfriend is the chick. Big Bang Theory, thank you. They were very, but they had each other, and that was so, like, it's just so cute, like, everyone wants love. I'm not knocking it in any way, shape, or form. I'm just acknowledging the fact that out of the how many people that who are in relationships, how many of them genuinely are connected in soul and heart and purpose, or did they just really like each other and it was kind of convenient, or were they just really attracted to each other and found themselves like in something that they didn't even really mean to be in, but because they were having sex, it just became a thing, Situationships turned into relationships that really have no business, I mean, like, so many ways that plays itself out. Yeah, I mean, friendships, like a group of people who you otherwise would probably not fuck with, but you're like, well, I don't know. Sometimes people who grow up with other people and, like, you've known each other for so long, and yes, they have bad habits, or yes, they do this, but, we still love them, so whatever, and so, like, there comes a point in time where we have to start honoring our boundaries with those people. Jobs, yeah, people take jobs that, like, they didn't, it's like not what they really want to do, but they're doing it because they have to pay their bills. I mean, we sacrifice all kinds of things, like, in every area of our lives. It just kind of depends where you're at with it, how deep in you are to, like, what you are being asked to release in faith. Because I feel like when you strengthen your boundaries, you release quite a bit. Speaking from experience. But yeah, again, the Tower, the Wheel of Fortune, I mean, major endings, but like major changes that I feel like just play out in your favor. But when you honor yourself, when you honor your boundaries, when you honor your relationship with spirit, because that's the thing. When spirit speaks, sometimes spirit speaks very clearly, very directly. Sometimes spirit shows us something and we got to figure out what the fuck, right? Like somebody in the basement, like, why the basement? You know what I mean? Like one of those moments where you're just like, okay, I got to figure out why that. Because for most people, I think the first thought is like something terrifying. You know what I mean? Legit. But, whatever. But the Tower, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Lovers, I love that. Well, because for somebody here, it very easily could be that it's a relationship thing. I don't know that that's necessarily it. Again, these are general reads, and it could be for some people that it's more along the lines of, because the Lovers is also a choice. And it could be more along the lines of making choices that are more in alignment with your boundaries, that are enabling you to, I think, stay on the path that Spirit is asking you to stay on, that you have strayed from because you have loosened your boundaries in areas where you, I think, justified it because maybe the journey was taking a little too long to journey. But you have the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Wands, and new beginnings, new truths. I think there's a lot to be said for honoring the process, right? For not putting ourselves in situations that we really not need be in, just because we can, you know, however that plays out for you as an individual. Yeah, we can read those. Let me finish shuffling these first. Ace of Wands and Ace of Swords. Okay. Ace of Wands represents urgency, rather often that of putting a new idea or inspiration into action. It is like a spark. You will have to fuel it in order to keep it alive and decide in which direction you want your energy to go. It is one of those cards that always says yes to a new opportunity. As an ace, it presents itself precisely as something initial that you can seize on the fly. It is not the actual manifestation of your idea. Fire, the guiding element of the suit, inspires and ignites, but it is you who must decide how to control it. Well, I do. There seems like there's a choice. Like, in order to do whatever it is that you need to do on your journey with spirit in your life, there's something that you've been doing that I think spirit was like, mm-mm. What are you doing? And you were like, kicking dirt. However that plays out for you. And when this tower, this end occurs, I feel like it's occurring because of a choice that you're making. It feels like a decision that you're making that spirit, I think, wanted you to make anyways, but you weren't doing it. And something is occurring where, well, because when spirit says no, spirit means no. Listen, I learned that the hard way a long time ago, and I just do what spirit says and don't question it, because I don't want to deal with the consequences because the consequences are far worse than the inconvenience that I experienced in that moment in time, you know? And I feel like that's kind of where you're at. I don't know with what, concerning what, or who, or how that will play out for you, because again, it can play out in so many different ways. Oftentimes when it is exhibiting itself in one area of our lives, it exhibits itself in other areas as well. So it could be that whatever it is that you're experiencing, maybe it results in, well, yeah, I mean, if you're like living, like a living situation, I don't know, it will vary. It will vary according to you and what's going on for you. It is time to say what you want to. You have found the words. This is the power of the Ace of Swords. It's air energy, which clears the mind and makes your thoughts lucid, letting the right words emerge. If you were looking for a way to say something, you will find it. If you want to start something in the field of communication, like writing a book, starting a blog, journaling, writing this poem, or writing that poem, this is the right time. It is inspiration, enlightenment, the decision to really see things as they are, in their truth. This card encourages you to follow your rational side, put your emotions aside for now and aim for the goal. Focus on what is right for you. Research new information. Consider an alternate point of view. Yeah. Yeah, it could be that it's an emotional thing that you're doing, an emotional decision. Well, because people can get away with a lot until we set boundaries, and then they can't really get away with anything, and that usually is very upsetting to people. They usually feel some type of way about it, right? And if it's somebody that you care about, then you feel some type of way about it too, you know? But again, if there's something that you're being asked to do, and there are reasons that you can't do that because you haven't been patient or been disciplined, or you just needed this or you just needed that, because I I don't think that the bad things that happen or the temporary things that occur are necessarily like bad decisions that we've made, because I think that sometimes you need those stepping stones, right? But sometimes like a stepping stone can turn into something that is a little bit more permanent than it was meant to be, right? Yeah, I mean, professionally, you could be like, well, I was starting with this and I was meaning to go into this, but I just got really comfortable here. And so, I never stepped to the next step. I never took that next step. However, it resonates for you. But I do feel like there is a choice that you're making. I do feel like something is ending for you in a really big way. Things are changing for you in a really big way. I just feel like maybe that, like that step. Well, yeah, now I see which one is that? I don't know. Indiana Jones, y'all. Grew up on that shit. Where he's got a step and then the path appears with each step. I feel like that's kind of the energy behind what's happening with this. I feel like there's a sense of, if you don't do this, if you don't set these boundaries, if you don't take these steps, you're going to stay where you're at. And you're being asked to release whatever it is that's served as like a comfort crutch for you, so that you can start to move in new directions. With the Wheel of Fortune, or I'm sorry, yeah, Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers and the King of Swords and the Six of Wands, I mean, there's definitely a decision that I feel like, even though it might come from a decision that you're making, which I think is kind of the motivation behind making this decision, right? It's that like this decision compared to this decision seems somehow absurd, however that plays out for you. But I feel like the decision that you're making to move in the direction that you're moving comes with a sense of somehow like a firmer truth. Stop. But listen. I swear to God. Okay. Ace of Wands again. Definitely new beginnings. Oops. Oh no, I got a lot of cards. Okay. Yeah. Because again, whatever it is that you're parting ways from, I think it's something that you already knew was crossing your boundaries. It's something that you already knew was like this, whatever it is that you're doing, you're like, this is not going to work for me long term. The other day, it's like something that you'd already outgrown. Like you've already outgrown that, whatever it is that you're doing. And I feel like you know that you've outgrown something. You know that something has become like a comfort, a crutch, comfort of crutch, a crutch of comfort. But again, your intuition, like moonbathe in hope. See things differently. Don't get so caught in the like immediate that you lose sight of the long term, because that's how you miss out on the long term, is that you let things that aren't meant to be. And whatever this new beginning is, I mean, there's just so much happiness. There's partnership, there's quick movement. The Ace of Wands in this deck is the idea of like at the ready. And I almost feel like whatever it is that you're doing it so that you will be at the ready for that next thing. Because again, I don't know that next thing has presented itself to you. Otherwise, why operate in faith? Why listen to spirit when you know you haven't been? You know, I feel like there's this sense of, are you ready? Are you ready? And I want to say for some, the answer is a big fat, no, I'm not ready. wasn't ready for this. I wasn't even really expecting this. I didn't even really know if it was real. I didn't, like whatever it is for you, I think that there's almost like spirit gave you something, dream or a vision. We got lots of different forms of communication coming through, but however spirit communicated something to you, there was something about that communication that said to you, you're going to screw yourself over if you don't take this seriously. Are you ready? Somehow you're not ready. Somehow you're preparing. But through this preparation, there is an end. Yeah, and it's an end of something that I think you already knew needed to end. It just was comfortable. Two of Pentacles again, or Two of Cups, Ace of Pentacles. So many new beginnings. I love this. Ace of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, Two of Cups, Two of Pentacles, new opportunities. I just feel like partnerships that offer you a sense of no longer having to like bear the burden of everything alone. Take what help you can get. Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of like employees, there are so many jobs that I've worked so many different jobs, but like where I've worked with people and I'm like, wow, how does that person have a job? Like standards are non-existent, like, and I feel like there is this sense of, well, because I need somebody to fill that space, because I need somebody to do that. I need somebody to do something. Right, but you can't fill that role if that role is already filled, and that, like they got you, like they could only do but so much, so you were kind of stuck and you didn't want to really get rid of them because you were like in this flow. But ultimately, like if you want to elevate, you're going to have to move in a direction with a higher level skill set, you know? Uh, it exhibits itself in so many ways. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're learning and you've learned everything that you can from that, whatever, and then you need to, like you need to find a different, right? Like you've already gotten your bachelor's in it. Now you need to go get your master's, so that you have to switch schools. You're taking on new teachers, you're taking on new whatever. However, it exhibits itself for you because, again, general read. Four of Diamonds. The dog, if near, represents true friends. If distant and surrounded by clouds, beware of unsuspected enemies. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if part of it isn't like that whatever it is that you're leaving behind, whatever it is that you're making this decision about this in terms of this separation, however you are doing that, it feels as though, well, because I feel like whatever spirit is sharing with you, there is a sense of protection and a level of preparation with that. But the company you keep keeps you. So, I mean, that's legit. And that's legit in any arena. Education, religion, friend groups, relationships, all of it, you know. And I feel like you've been kept in something that feels like a low level energy, something that you have outgrown in some way that you will be no longer engaging in, parting ways with, separating from. Learn from the bees. We've gotten it before, but I'm not. Oops, wrong one. Bees are tiny alchemists. They take the raw materials of flower and pollen and turn them into honey. Now is the time to recognize you are an alchemist as well. The power of transformation at your fingertips. Your raw materials are life experiences, and right now nothing is more important than turning the lead of suffering into the gold of creative expression. Unexpressed pain turns into suffering, but pain that is grieved, mourned, and given its creative voice becomes art. Medicine is found inside the wound, but not unless it becomes expressed. This is your job as an alchemist. Take the raw materials of your experience and turn them into song, dance, and sculpture. Weave a story with the threads of your hope and despair. You deserve that sweet honeycomb. It tastes like survival turned into thrival. Well, I think that's great because I do feel like there is this sense of like you should never feel guilty if you find yourself in a situation like that. You should just practice awareness of how it is that that occurred and how it is that you can move past that. I think that we are taught guilt, you know, in all directions, and to feel guilt and shame. And I feel like there is not a sense of guilt or shame that is present with this energy. I just feel like it's a sense of acknowledgement that what was cannot go into what will be. And I feel like you already knew that. I feel like part of your problem was that you were just not feeling the hope along the journey, and you were letting your boundaries slide. And I just think you're dealing with that, however you're dealing with that as an individual, because again, it will be different for everyone. But yeah, I hope y'all are having a lovely day, enjoying the sunshine. Thank you so much for being here with me. Please, please, please give me a like, share, and subscribe, and I will see y'all again soon. Bye.